Ryu from Street Fighter is from one of the most popular video game fighting series of all time, Street Fighter. He is the main character of the game's verse, the lead character. Like a stoic-ish Japanese martial artist who wanders the globe seeking the meaning of what being an actual true warrior is. Kind of like an adventure of training, of discipline. He trained alongside his friendly rival Ken, who's also powerful in his own right, and he got a master known as Goken, somebody extremely powerful, and was the victor of the first Street Fighter tournament in his verse. He has had encounters with his master's nemesis known as Akuma throughout the Street Fighter Alpha saga, woke the evil intent side of him known as the Satsui No Hado, which I'm getting to in this video. Characters in this verse have a lot of similarities to some Marvel characters too. He travels the world to seek even strong opponents. In a weird way, Ryu actually has aspects of him that reminds me of Goku. Like, he always wants to see stronger fighters and fight them to test his limits and surpass his limits and all that good stuff. He's the definition of hard work and dedication. He's kind of like Captain America mixed with Iron Fist. Captain America always trains to be a hero, but then Ryu's mixed with Goku because he just wants to train just to be stronger because that warriorness is seriously important to him. You know what I'm saying? Ryu has had several opponents that he's fought in throughout the years. Characters like Bison and characters like Akuma. Everybody knows about the famous Akuma. Powerful opponents like Sagat. He also seems to be pretty cool with characters like Chun-Li, other fighters in the verse, of course, very strong. He's definitely one of those characters you don't want to mess with, having energy blasts like the Hadoken, super move, one of the many, ultra moves. Even major uppercuts that just destroy your doggone face. The thing about Ryu is that in this verse, when you unleash your evil intent, it's called the Satsui No Hado. You got your base form, which is basically still superhuman in its own right. But you got, base Ryu. Then you got, I would like to call the first stage of the Satsui No Hado. Then you got the second stage, which even puts it even more power, calls it Evil Ryu. He is vastly stronger than his base form in this state. But then he ends up mastering all this stuff, ends up getting like the ultimate form I'm gonna get to later in the video. But let's get right further into his powers and abilities and etc. and how hard can this guy actually hit.
Master of the Iron Fist? Show me. You fought with honor. You would be most welcome in Court Moon.
Notice how Iron Fist said this about Ryu. I know this is non-canon, but it's just little cool things to show that they are very similar in ways to Iron Fist, like the Street Fighter characters. For one, Ryu has shown some pretty decent displays of strength, like lifting up this boulder. There's actually been calculations where people had calculated this to be in the 100-ton range, so in his base form, already can lift hundreds of tons. Just give you an idea of how strong Ryu is. This is just starting out. Let me just go over his special moves right quick, like the Hadoken, shooting a Chi Blast, similar to characters like Iron Fist. This is one of the things that makes him similar to Iron Fist. Despite popular belief, this is actually not a fireball, and it can shoot. Yeah, it has no heat to it at all. That's why it can hit people without them melting. It's not heat. It's just an energy blast, like Chi Blast, Hadoken. It can even split a river. Physics. Literally showed you a couple seconds ago. It looks like a Kamehameha. We does like a super version of it. Like a super powerful Hadoken. One of the many opponents he's fought in. This guy has a lot of people's abilities in one body as well, by the way. Well, in the game he does. Gotta love the power. He even has this technique called the Metsu Hadoken. It's like powered by some of the energy of the Satsui no Hado. He doesn't fully submit to it all the time though, so he can use Satsui no Hado techniques without fully going berserk evil Hulk mode. But sometimes he does surrender to it to where he just goes crazy, like in this occasion with Zangief. When people want to do murderous, malicious intent type stuff, that's when Ryu really loses his crap. Yeah, as you can see here, charges it up like Kamehameha. This right here, he kind of does surrender to it. But he stops himself in the heat of it. That would have blew him apart if, yeah, see what they did to the building? Another occasion of him submitting to some of the energy of the Satsui no Hado, bioengineered opponent. As you can see, charging up this type of level of power. You do not want to piss off Ryu. He goes into like Hulk mode. Control your rage, Ryu. Goodness. My gosh, Ryu. By the way, he has this technique called the Denjin Hadoken. This Hadoken, Satsui No Hadoken, actually does have fire behind it, for those that don't know. Everybody knows about the famous Shoryuken, the super one. In his fights against Sagat, one of the many people he's fought over the years, he did this technique against Sagat. This almost murdered him. Goodness, Ryu, you gotta chill. This is the perfect version of the Shoryuken. It's the Shin Shoryuken. It takes the most focus and discipline to be able to pull this one off, though. Then you got moves like the Tatsumaki Senpukya. Then you got the Shin Tatsumaki Senpukak. These names are getting too confusing to even say at this point. Yeah, he can just do standard kicks. His fighting style is really unique. He has moves that allow him to counterattack after parries. Parry stance, see, that's the move. His most successful attack after a parry, as you can see here, sends the opponent flying. Just to give you really an idea of the power of Ryu, his base form is a beast already on its own, been able to lift hundreds of tons already, and that's not even the limitations of his base form, but I'm going to get back to that in a bit. But when you tap into a little of the Satsui No Hado, he was able to like curb stomp this being known Crimson Viper. Why is this impressive? Because Crimson Viper was able to curb stomp beings like Cammy, who's a strong fighter in her own right. Just for reference, Viper's a pretty strong fighter in her own right. She was actually able to slug it out Ryu himself in his base form for quite a bit. She has some pretty decent attack power in her own right. Gotta love it. Just to show you the drastic difference in power up. Funny part is, this is not even the full power of it yet at this point. Grade 1, I could say, of Evil Ryu, aka stage 1 of Satsui no Hado. She could barely react to him at this point. That power. Stunned by the level of power he has in this mode. Yeah, she just kind of had to just be on defense the whole time. Now let's talk about straight up Evil Ryu. Like, as you can see, one of his moves here, the fireball in his state. Ryo Shukyaku. Has like a little levitation type of move where you can kind of evade through attacks. This is kind of like a speed type of technique. He has ridiculously powerful moves like the Raging Demon, naturally. He can pretty much do all the moves he had in his base form, but amplified to an unknown degree, like basically ×2 or ×3. It just gets ridiculous with the level of power he has. Absolute madness. Multiple uppercuts. Just straight up savage at this moment. He's gotten so powerful to the point where Evil Ryu, man, he reached the stage where he actually got in a battle with Oni Akuma, who's already kind of embraced the Satsui no Hado state, but this is like another level above that, like a Super Saiyan 2 of the Satsui no Hado for Akuma, even though Akuma's always in the Satsui no Hado state, kinda, sorta, all the time, right? Actually have a full-on battle here, and it's not actually a curb stomp, but actually a slugfest at that. Full-blown one-on-one. Does even moves from the game in this occasion here. Dodging each other's attacks. Would love to see this animated, by the way. I'm not gonna lie. Akuma looks like Super Android 13, if I'm being honest. It's crazy as powerful as Evil Ryu has become, or Ryu in general has become. In his base form, he can lift hundreds of tons and stuff like that. He fought this overpowered being known as Gil. Yeah, Gil kind of toyed with him a little bit. Just give you an idea of how strong Gil is. He did this to Oni and Ryu. Yeah. If my Street Fighter videos do good in the future, I might do a video about Gil. Who knows? Try to do this to Gil here, but Gil acts like a deity in comparison to these guys, doing freezing techniques to him and manhandling him over and over again. Here, oh my goodness, this is getting bad. I've never seen Evil Ryu get done like this. Gets frozen solid, but luckily Evil Ryu, this is not Ryu's best form. It's crazy how strong Ryu is in Evil Ryu form, able to battle Oni freaking Akuma in his base form. Normal Akuma can like level an island. Oh, you don't believe me? Notice how Ryu is in his base form fighting Akuma, right? Yeah. Are we just gonna ignore that Akuma casually did a mountain, island, city level busting attack with his actual raw punch, Ryu's in his base state? Not only that, Ryu is fine after it, showing a level of durability for these Street Fighter characters. Base form Ryu, by the way. Akuma can punch this hard. Ryu's fighting this guy in his base state, guys. Evil Ryu's leagues above his base state. So Ryu basically in his base state can lift hundreds of tons and can fight somebody that can equivalently level mountains and level a city with his raw punches. Ryu should be around the same range of power himself, when that makes sense. Because Ryu just keeps getting stronger as time goes by even more. Everything isn't about his power. He does have a lot of power, but he's actually really skilled. Blocking, hitting vital points, all that crazy stuff. Just casual martial arts type stuff on top of his raw power. Not to mention speed. As you can see here, dodge, light work for him. This is easy. Also, I would like to add, when it comes to speed for Ryu, he should be fast as characters like this, or even faster than characters like Guile. A strong fighter in this verse. He can literally do sonic boom, like literally create a sonic boom. Combo, basically the Bruce Lee of Street Fighter. Fei Long, he actually defeated a kid like Fei Long. Okay, so there's this being known as 12, who's basically an amalgamation of all the different Street Fighter styles, I guess. Fought a being that has a lot of different Street Fighter abilities, if that makes sense. You see like him turning into different people like Guile, Chun-Li, Zangief, Sagat, Ryu himself. It just gets crazier and crazier. Not to mention he has enough skill in his base form and power in his base form to fight. He can fight somebody that has the Satsui No Hado stage 1 activated, I would say, like Sakura. He was able to hold her off even though he didn't have Satsui No Hado in powered at the moment in his base form to show, yeah, it's consistent. Now we've seen what Akuma can do when he's fully embraced with the Satsui No Hado. This is a power feat, durability feat, strength feat for Ryu, and skill feat all rolled into one. Really shows how he knows the knowledge of these type of things. He can even keep up with characters like Gin, a being that taught Chun-Li martial arts, showing his skills should not be underestimated in any kind of way. I mean, for Pete's sake, he can even balance on a moving train. He's had occasions where he's fought groups of fighters more than one occasion. Speed, reaction time, skills, all rolled into one. Shoryuken! Let's talk about fun feats, like stuff that's not canon, like him fighting Wolverine, kicks his claws and everything. He even fought this being known as Oro, a being in the Street Fighter verse that's largely considered one of the strongest beings in the verse. Easily, and for good reason, this guy's a beast. Don't sleep on him. Multiple panels of them fighting. You got to respect it. Hey, you remember that guy Gil I showed you earlier, how he manhandled Oni Akuma and Evil Ryu? You remember that same guy? Remember I told you how Ryu mastered the Satsui no Hado power? He becomes like Shin Ryu, or Power of Nothingness. He just becomes on another level, even higher than Oni Akuma evidently. Battles Oni Akuma over here, but instead, the tide seems to be turning. Oni seems to still be trying to hang in there. They start to crumble rocks with their attack power. All hope seems lost. Ryu gets pumped up even more, draws blood, does damage to him here, and some flying far, comes back, big shockwave hit here by Oni Akuma. Fight perseveres even more. It continues. Then this is when it happens. Power up time, baby. Get sent flying. Actually depowered Akuma till he turned back into his little base form state. Pretty much defeated Oni Akuma. Very impressive feat of power for Ryu at this state. Evil Ryu and Akuma were going head to head a while back. Remember this guy Gil I just showed you? This same guy Gil literally manhandled Evil Ryu when he was like Satsui no Hado possessed, full powered. Satsui no Hado possessed, like straight up savage nature. Him and Oni Akuma got tossed by this same guy, got frozen by this guy, right? But Ryu is back fighting Gil yet again. Yeah, he's this powered up. This guy Gil has like almost a lot of elements, like pyrokinesis, ice, and all that good stuff. This is the type of power Ryu currently possesses. Okay, did he just drain the power out of Gil? You know what? Ryu is a beast in this state. Oh, don't forget in his base form, he can still do stuff like this to Tatsumaki, Senpukek. This bioengineered warrior that I showed you earlier fought Chun-Li in them. Ken. Kind of made them flee. But it doesn't matter. Ryu was able to fight this same warrior, doing combos on him and everything. Oh no, it's consistent about this boulder feat. You done it over and again through the lore. So at this point, you know Ryu's a beast with the different forms. Base form, Satsui no Hado first stage, then second stage of Satsui no Hado known as Evil Ryu. Then he completely masters it, Power of Nothingness, ends up becoming Shin Ryu and all that good stuff. Remember this guy named Bison? This guy's no joke either. Ryu fought this guy. In one of the bad endings of a game, Bison was actually able to destroy a city with his power. Oh, did I mention that Ryu is actually taken on and took down Bison as well? To further add on the fact of his power, and Bison has this level of attack power. So what does this mean, right? Ryu is, in his greatest form, is above characters like Bison and leagues above characters like Akuma. Even Akuma was in his blue Android 13 looking form like only Akuma, and it didn't seem to matter. We saw what Akuma did to that mountain and that island it was on. Ryu was in his base state. Ryu has defeated Bison in his base state, who can level a city with his power and all that good stuff. And man, that's the crazy part is, even defeating Gil, a being that defeated evil Ryu and Oniguma at the same time. Let me say that one more time. Remember this guy Gil I showed you in this video? This guy defeated Oni, Akuma, and evil Ryu at the same time. And Ryu, with the power of Nothingness, Satsui No Hado, mastered, surpassed that guy, showing that him mastering the Satsui No Hado power of Nothingness, it puts him way above Oni, Akuma. Shoot, think about it. This same guy was able to beat evil Ryu and Oni Kuma at the same time, but when evil Ryu got this new power up, he was stronger than Gil, which puts him leagues above Oni Kuma at this point, right? Ryu has absolutely evolved into a ridiculously powerful fighter. I wouldn't mess with him if I were you. So here's the thing. We haven't seen Ryu actually destroy a city or a mountain and things like that, but we have shown that he can hurt beings with this level of durability. He has that level of durability, and he is way past that level when it comes to these new power-ups. Bare minimum in his base form, he can already lift hundreds of tons in his base form, but like most people in real life, most people can hit harder than what they can lift, so the lifting strength shouldn't be the end-all be-all. That's just the starting point, if anything. And the thing is, this verse isn't too super duper hacksy, so it's pretty straightforward. With that being said, if you beat a character and proven to have more power than a character that can blast away a city, it's more than likely you have more power to blast away a city too, because this world isn't that complicated when it comes to durability, strength, and etc. They all go hand in hand. It's a fighting verse. Everybody fights each other physically. Not too many glass cannon type of situations in this verse. So I would say that all equals up to the fact of him being able to literally punch a city in half if he wanted to in these new states, probably in his base form, or even level a town, make a big crater in a city with his base form punches or kicks if he really wanted to. And then adding on top of the fact that he has power-ups and transformations like evil Ryu, which is above his base form. It's like his base form times, what, 1,000? And then he has a form higher than this, known as the power of Nothingness. So that just pretty much concretes it. If he wanted to, he can punch a city in half, punch a city apart, that type of thing. Did you guys know Ryu was that strong? He's the main character of Street Fighter for a reason. What do you guys think? What did you find informative about this? Is there anything new that you learned in this video? I mean, just think about it. He handled this guy known as Bison. This guy has telekinesis, psionic powers, and all that craziness, blast power, and etc. Respect one of the best or coolest video game characters of all time. Probably what made video games what they are. But make sure you guys put your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. Check out those playlists, description. Playlist. The binge watch more stuff like this. I do live videos like this. But I'll see you guys next time. Respect Ryu.